When my girlfriend and I moved into our new place, it felt unreal, like we finally made it. We were both barely in our 20s, scraping by, saving every dollar, and somehow landed a house that actually felt like home. Quiet street, decent yard, enough space that we didn't feel boxed in. We even brought our rescue cat, Luna, with us. She'd been through a lot before we adopted her, so seeing her finally relaxed, sprawled out in sun patches like she owned the place, made everything feel right. There was only one thing that bugged us: the house next door. It looked frozen, like someone hit pause mid-renovation and never came back. Half-painted siding, boards stacked awkwardly against the wall. No lights at night, no cars. The backyard fence had been torn down and never replaced, which meant our yard and theirs basically blended into one long stretch of overgrown grass. At first, we didn't think much of it. Behind that house was another property, separated by a chain-link fence. A group of guys lived there, college age, maybe late 20s. We'd sometimes see them cutting through the abandoned yard instead of walking around the block. Annoying, sure, but nothing that screamed danger. We figured maybe they knew the owner or just didn't care. Our first night there, we decided to sit outside. Just us, the cat, and a couple folding chairs in the yard, soaking in that new house feeling. The air was warm, the street was quiet, and everything felt calm. Until my girlfriend froze mid-sentence. "Do you see that?" she whispered. I followed her gaze toward the houses behind us. That's when I saw him. A man standing at a second-floor window, staring straight at us. Not peeking, not hiding, just watching. The room behind him was pitch black, which made his face look like it was floating. No emotion, no movement, no blinking. I waved, half laughing, trying to shake the weirdness. He didn't react. 30 minutes went by. He never moved. That's when we decided to go inside. The next few days were normal enough. I went to work. My girlfriend stayed home, unpacking boxes. We joked about the window creep, chalked it up to curiosity, and tried to forget about it. But the feeling never really left. A few nights later, we were back in the yard, this time later than before. Stars out, quiet, peaceful, until we heard wood scraping against wood. The makeshift board blocking the open fence gap shifted. 3 men stepped into our yard like they owned it. No warning, no hey, no hesitation. One of them, youngest looking, maybe late 20s, was holding a big black bag, the kind you don't want to wonder about. My heart dropped straight into my stomach. "Y'all good?" I asked, forcing my voice to sound calm. He smiled like he'd been waiting for me to say something, pulled something out of the bag and said, "You want some dishwasher pods? Still in the packaging." Stolen. Definitely stolen. We declined. I cracked a joke because that's what I do when I'm uncomfortable. He shrugged, said, "Aight," and they turned around and left the same way they came. What stuck with me wasn't the offer. It was how comfortable they were. Like the yard wasn't ours. Like boundaries didn't apply. After that night, it didn't stop. They kept coming through the yard. Sometimes during the day, sometimes late at night. They'd lift sections of fencing, cross through the abandoned property, and just linger, whispering, laughing. We started locking everything. Windows, doors, even during the day. One afternoon, while I was cleaning the living room, 2 cops walked straight into the abandoned yard. No knock, no explanation. They lifted part of the fence, looked around, and left without saying a word to us. That alone should have been a warning. A few days later, police came back, this time knocking. They told us the guys behind us had been evicted for repeated complaints and aggressive behavior toward neighbors. Relief washed over us, or at least it did for a week. Then, while I was taking a bath one afternoon, I heard a loud bang outside. Not a pop, not a slam, a hit. I rushed out, heart racing, and found my girlfriend standing in the spare bedroom, phone raised, recording. She didn't even look at me. "There's a man outside," she whispered. A guy we'd never seen before was standing in the abandoned yard, pointing directly at our bedroom window. When he realized she was watching, he sprinted towards our house. He tried our front door handle, then ran back, lifted the broken fence, and started pounding on the windows of the empty house next door, like he was trying to break in or wake something up. We called the cops, again. They took the video, took a statement, left. No follow-up. A few nights later, around 2:58 a.m., we heard whistling, the kind that makes your skin crawl, the kind women know instinctively to fear. Then, tapping on our window. Our security cameras glitched. No footage. The next morning, our doorbell camera was gone, sitting on the ground. SD card missing. That's when the fear stopped being abstract. Someone had been back, and they didn't want to be seen. The police told us to stay alert and keep everything locked. One officer casually mentioned that removing cameras can be a sign someone's planning something. That sentence haunted us. Weeks passed. The harassment slowed, but never stopped. Then, one night while we were scrolling through old camera clips in bed, we checked the live feed. A man stood outside our yard, masked, hood up, arms stretched wide like he was posing, like he wanted us to see him. He tilted his head, staring straight at our bedroom window. Then he spoke. We couldn't hear what he said. He crossed the street and stood there for a half hour, staring at our house like he was waiting for something. The police said it wasn't illegal, that we were reading too much into it. We stopped sleeping. Every sound felt like a threat. And then, at 2:52 a.m., our phone buzzed. Motion detected. 2 figures crept along the side of our house, flashlights sweeping across our windows. One of them was holding something long and metallic, a crowbar. And that's when we realized, whatever this was, it wasn't over. Not even close. After that night, the one with the crowbar, sleep stopped being a thing. We didn't talk about it much at first. Talking made it feel real, and neither of us wanted to say out loud what we were both thinking. Someone is testing us. Not robbing, not breaking in, just seeing how far they could go before we snapped. We became experts at silence. We'd lie in bed, phones dimmed, TV muted, listening for footsteps like prey animals. Every car door outside made my chest tighten. Every shadow on the wall felt wrong. We moved one of the cameras inside, pointing out through the front window. It wasn't ideal, but after the last one got stolen, we figured it was better than nothing. We double-checked locks obsessively. Even the bathroom window stayed shut, even during the day. That didn't stop him. Almost every afternoon around the same time, between 3 and 4 p.m., we'd see him across the street. Same guy, same posture, hands in his pockets, staring at our house like he was waiting for it to blink first. Sometimes he'd wave, sometimes he'd point. Once he clapped slowly. That one messed me up more than anything else. We called the cops so many times we started recognizing the dispatcher's voice. Their responses were always the same. He hasn't touched you, he hasn't trespassed, he hasn't threatened you directly. It felt like the system was designed to help only after someone was already hurt. One night,
Around 1 a.m., we heard something scratching against the side of the house. Slow, deliberate. Not an animal. Animals panic. This was steady, patient. I checked the camera. Nothing. Then the scratching moved to the back door. I stood there holding my breath, phone shaking in my hand, waiting for the handle to turn. It didn't. After a few seconds, the noise stopped. That was the pattern. They never crossed the line, just danced right up to it. A few days later, my girlfriend came running into the kitchen, pale as a sheet. She'd been checking the footage from earlier that morning. At 6:12 a.m., while it was still dark, the masked man had been standing directly under our bedroom window, looking up, not moving, just standing there for almost 10 minutes. Then he reached into his pocket and tossed something onto our lawn. We didn't see it until daylight. It was a single glove, black, leather, left hand, no pair. That night, the whistling came back, longer this time, slower, almost musical. We didn't sleep at all. The next morning, we packed bags and drove to my mom's place. We told ourselves it was temporary, just a reset, one night away to calm down. That night was the first time we slept more than 2 hours straight in weeks. But the relief didn't last. When we went back the next day, our house felt off. Nothing was stolen, nothing was broken, but the air felt heavier, like someone had been inside and left behind the idea of themselves. Then we noticed it. The back doormat had been moved. Not flipped, turned, perfectly straight, facing inward. I felt sick. We reviewed the footage. At 4:47 a.m., the same masked guy walked up to our door. No flashlight, no hesitation. He leaned down toward the camera and tapped it once with his finger, right on the lens. Then he whispered something. We still don't know what he said. A few days later, the police finally showed up in force. Multiple cars, flashing lights, neighbors peeking through blinds. Someone nearby had reported suspicious activity. For once, it wasn't us calling. They searched the abandoned house next door. What they found didn't make us feel better. Inside were empty energy drink cans, cigarette butts, food wrappers, a sleeping bag. Someone had been living there, watching us. The cops told us they'd increase patrols. We nodded like that meant anything. That night, the street was quiet. Too quiet. No footsteps, no whistling, no staring figure across the road. We almost believed it was over. Then, the power went out. The entire block went dark. Except one house. Ours. Every light inside flicked on at once. Living room, kitchen, bedroom, spare room, like someone had flipped all the switches. We froze. Then our phones buzzed. Motion detected. Front yard. 3 figures this time, all masked. One held the crowbar. Another had something slung over his shoulder that looked a lot like a duffel bag. The third one, he was holding a phone, pointed directly at our window, recording us. They didn't rush, didn't yell, didn't break anything. They just stood there, watching us panic. Finally, the one with the crowbar raised it and slammed it into the abandoned house's front door. Once, twice. On the third hit, sirens wailed in the distance. They scattered instantly, like they'd rehearsed it. The cops arrived fast, faster than ever before. But again, no arrests, no suspects, just footprints that stopped suddenly, like they'd vanished into the night. We didn't stay in the house after that. We couldn't. We're in the process of moving now. Again. Boxes stacked everywhere. New locks, new cameras, new routines. But even now, weeks later, I still catch myself checking the windows. Because sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear it. That same slow whistling. And I can't shake the feeling that they weren't trying to hurt us. They were trying to train us. To be afraid. To stay awake. To watch the windows.
We moved out faster than we moved in. Boxes half packed, clothes stuffed into trash bags, furniture left behind because it wasn't worth going back for. The house that once felt like a dream now felt contaminated, like every wall had eyes. We didn't tell anyone where we were going. Not friends, not coworkers, not even family, aside from my mom, and only because we had no choice. We told ourselves secrecy was safety. New address, new routines, new lives. For a little while, it worked. The new place was smaller. Apartment, 3rd floor. No yard, no abandoned houses, just neighbors, streetlights, and noise. Normal noise. The kind you learn to ignore. For the first time in months, we slept through the night. That should have been the end of it. But fear doesn't disappear just because you move. It waits. It watches. It adjusts. About 2 weeks after we settled in, my girlfriend got a message request on a burner account she used just for browsing. No name. No profile picture. Just a sentence. You left the light on. She showed it to me without saying a word. We didn't respond. An hour later, another message came in. Did you really think that would stop us? That's when I knew, deep down, in that place that doesn't lie to you, that this had never been about the house. It was about us. We went back to the police one last time, bringing everything: footage, messages, timelines, names of officers we'd already spoken to. We demanded someone take us seriously. One detective finally did. He didn't promise anything, didn't sugarcoat it, just leaned back in his chair and asked a question that hadn't crossed our minds. Did either of you have problems with anyone before you moved? Exes, co-workers, neighbors, online arguments, anything? We told him no, or at least we thought no. Then he asked something else. Did you ever respond to anyone? Even once? That's when it hit me. Months earlier, before we moved, I'd replied to a post in a local housing group. Someone asking about abandoned properties, complaining about squatters. I'd commented something like, "Yeah, people cut through our yard all the time. Cops don't do much." It was harmless. Or so I thought. The detective nodded slowly. He explained something we wish we'd never learned. There are online groups, private ones, that treat harassment like a game. Not gangs, not cults, just bored, angry people who thrive on control. They call it pressure testing, seeing how far they can push someone without breaking the law. No threats, no direct violence, just fear. Once someone reacts, moves, panics, changes routines, that's how they win. And the scariest part, they share targets. Screenshots, schedules, reactions. Entertainment. The detective told us the abandoned house next door had been used before.
temporary squatters who weren't really living there, just staging from it. Watching. Waiting. We weren't chosen because we were special. We were chosen because we were young, new, and visible. Easy. That knowledge didn't comfort us. It made everything worse. A few nights later, around 11 p.m., my girlfriend froze mid-sentence when we were watching TV. Someone was standing across the street. Same posture. Same stillness. Different place. Same game. I felt my hands go numb. He didn't approach, didn't wave, didn't whistle. He just stood there long enough for us to notice him. Then he left. No cameras caught him, no messages followed. But the message was clear. We know where you are. We stopped going out together, staggered schedules, changed routes, took different stairwells, lived like fugitives in our own city. Weeks passed. Nothing happened. Then one afternoon, a package showed up at our door. No return address. Inside was a single item. A black leather glove. Right hand this time. That night, we made a decision. We refused to play. We stopped reacting, stopped calling the cops, stopped checking cameras obsessively. If they wanted fear, we weren't giving it to them anymore. And slowly, it worked. No messages. No figures across the street. No packages. Months passed. Life started creeping back in. We laughed again, planned again, talked about the future like it wasn't a fragile thing. I almost believed we'd escaped it. Almost. Last week, while walking home from work alone, I passed someone on the sidewalk, hoodie up, head down. Normal. As they passed, they muttered something under their breath. So quiet, I almost missed it. Lights still on. They never looked at me. Never slowed down. Just kept walking into the crowd. I stood there for a long time after they disappeared into the crowd, heart pounding, knowing something I wish I didn't. This never had an ending. Only pauses. Because fear like this doesn't need a house. It doesn't need a neighborhood. It just needs someone watching. And someone willing to be watched. And even now, as I write this, I don't know if this is over, or if they're just waiting for me to look out the window again.